Right, welcome back to Tales from the PowerAge. How are you doing, guys? You well?
Yeah,
Well,
good,
mate.
Great stuff. Well, welcome to you and welcome to anyone that's watching the #1 show in rock and metal. We cover predominantly the 80s and 90s, but sometimes the 70s, which is just as well because we're taking you all the way back to 1979 and killer albums from 1979. So if you've not watched this before, we curate 12 of the best albums from 1979, not compilations, not live albums, studio albums. We present 3 each. We then have a little bit of a secret vote, and then we'll present our top 5 Tales from the PowerAge albums from 1979. Now, the great news is for you guys, there'll be no ABBA on this show, there'll be no Leo Sayer, and there'll be no
Barry Manilow.
Correct.
Hot chocolate.
I was going to say Barry Manilow, but I
thought you might
upset you. Anyway, look, the other thing as well, of course, we want to know your top 5. So let us know in the comments. Give us a like. Give us a share. Before we do anything, give the house bell a ring. Get involved. Tell us what you think. And if you really like what you're seeing, Sean, hit the thanks button and buy us a drink. Things are getting tough. They're getting really difficult, and we need all the help that we can get. So
there's a thanks button.
Yeah. Give it. You know, just tell us. You tell us how much you like us by buying us a beer. We'd love that, and maybe we'll return the favour when we see you at a gig. Anyway, let's crack on, shall we? Let's go to the first 3 from 1979.
Hello, I'm first up. So had to include Saxon. Admittedly, not their best album, but such a good impression of where they're going to go. They had all the composite parts. It just needed fine tuning. They had the logo. We've said this before. They had the logo from day one. So blooming brilliant. There were 2 singles off the album, which is Backs to the Wall and Big Teaser. This was part of this weird set. I don't know if you guys know about this.
Yeah.
I'm sure Jill does.
Yeah. It's really cool.
Yeah. So they've all got this kind of background business going on. Anyway, before we get too embroiled in that, there we are. Classic Village Hall photo on the back, just to show where they've come from. But yeah, I love it. I mean, I love Frozen Rainbow. I love Stallions of the Highway. I'm sure Jam's got a few favourites we're going to talk about. As far as special editions, all I've got is the original first press and this rather fetching splatter reissue. It's really cool. How about you guys?
Saxon. Yeah, of course. I mean, it's a really raw debut. I read Biff's autobiography recently. It's a really good read. And when you know what's going on behind the scenes, it just adds to it. I'd recommend that to anyone. But my highlight for this is Still Fit to Boogie. It's probably one of the least Saxonish songs. But bearing in mind, we're back in '79 when this came out. I was pretty young. I loved that track, and I used to listen to it over and over again. And you just mentioned about the picture on the back, the Village Hall. My brother used to bang on about seeing Saxon in Wickham Town Hall around this time.
Of course he did.
And fair play.
Which brother was that?
I forget which. I know which.
I know which.
And just seeing the picture on the back of the album is just so cool. And it's just awesome. And he used to just say, he was in awe. He said, it's the loudest thing I've ever been to. He'd say, except Motorhead. He always used to say that, except Motorhead. That picture there, it's just immense. It's I love the way you opened up, Gav, probably with the least committed of any of us of any of the albums we presented. But it's here on merit because what comes off the back of this is truly immense. They set the scene with this, and there are some decent tracks on it, as you said, Backs to the Wall. So some really great tracks, but it's not lauded for its awesomeness, and it's often ignored.
None of them are really Saxon tracks, are they?
No,
so it's the highway is.
No.
Yeah, but they come a long way from here onto their amazingly ridiculous.
Yeah, when you think in the next year, it was 80, wasn't it, when they had 2 albums out?
Yeah.
So we're only months away from Wheels of Steel.
From the double header of Wheels of Steel and
mental.
Yeah.
Donington as well.
Yeah.
you know,
both albums that came out in 1980 sound so different to this one.
Oh, they do. Yeah, totally. Yeah, but we couldn't put these in the also rans. It's too important. It's too cool, and the drumming on it is amazing.
And a lot of the things we said before, those two albums wouldn't have happened if this hadn't happened. This had to happen.
No, that's true.
In my opinion, to get where you're going. So yeah, no, it's here on its own merits. Nice selection, Gav.
Let me big you up. Ooh, very nice.
I love Saxon. It's a slightly darker carry label than some of the other ones.
Yeah,
yours is the same, Gav, on that, but it's quite dark on the original. I always thought side 2 should have been side 1 on this album. Personally, I think side 2 seems more Saxon.
You're absolutely right. Yeah.
But yeah, Stallions of the Highway, Backs to the Wall, Still Fit to Boogie. That's probably one of my favourite tracks as well, actually. So, how could you not like Saxon in those days? Even now, how could you not like him now? So,
And it was produced by their Yorkshire mate John Verity, who later was in a band called Verity that supported them.
Yeah.
Wow.
We've mentioned on another pod.
And we were there.
And we were there. Yeah.
Wow.
We've done a whole classic album on this, so there it is. So this is Thin Lizzy, Black Rose. For me, this is a highlight, one of the highlights of their career. But for me, I literally knew about this album, I knew about the songs when it came out. So at the the tender age of, what were we, 9, something like that. They had loads of hits off this album. That was the thing, and I've got them. So we got Waiting for an Alibi. There we go. Followed by Do Anything You Want to Do. Followed by Sarah. And Gav being Gav has got Brian, Bill and Scott. They didn't do Gary because he'd already buggered off by then.
Yeah.
Which is just as well.
This is a classic album. And I think, though it's not the Brian Robinson lineup, Gary Moore is just so immense on this album. Makes it a bit more metal, which is perfect in my book. You got all the singles, and you've got some classic B-sides, some classic other tracks, like Toughest Street, which I've always loved. Obviously,
Toughest Street's great.
The title track, Get Out of Here, Got to Give It Up. It's just good stuff. What about you guys?
No, it's a brilliant album, no doubt about that. Was Midgear on this album at all? He was, or did he just record some of the? Sorry, did he write some of the songs?
Yeah.
So he didn't actually record on this, did he?
No, he obviously filled in when Gary left the quick US tour. Surprisingly to everybody, but yeah, he did Get Out of Here. That was the only co-write on here. Lots of Gary Moore co-writes though.
He was a lot more heavily involved in the solo albums.
Yeah,
Midge was,
around the same time.
Yeah, at the same time.
Yeah,
Black Rose for me is one of the greatest Lizzy tracks of all time. The actual title track of this album is absolutely superb.
Iconic cover as well, isn't it? Absolutely fantastic.
Yeah,
really cool. What about you, Jan?
That's just the thing you've just put up there, but we've covered this in great detail, and we had to dedicate one of the earliest shows. We knew early doors we were going to cover this in great detail because it is one of the most immense things. It's so consistent. The lyrics in it, we cover this off. They're so good that Phil is so on. He's in such a place in his life. You've said about Sarah, and you've also said about Got to Give It Up. There's a lot going on, and we cover this all in that pod. So I don't want to tread over that now, but suffice to say, this is massive. It had some great hit singles as well. So this was appealing to the masses. So at the time, it was just a really big thing, a really big album. And when you consider what they'd done with Jailbreak, it was quite amazing. They were really flying high. They were really flying high at this time. So it's brilliant, superb album.
There's a famous concert at Sydney Opera House outside. Yeah. Was that around this time, Gav? Because I think it was this lineup, wasn't it? Maybe tell us in the comments, but maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, well, it was around this time because Gary Moore was in the band.
Right.
Brian Downey wasn't on drums. I think he was ill or something.
He was. I was talking about how high they were flying. They were flying really high, and Downey had to take some time out. There was a lot of refueling going on. So yeah, as you say, then I think we bring this up as well now. The public, that's an amazing, that's iconic. That one.
Those photos are just immense.
Well, it's on YouTube as well. So if you've not seen it, should search it out because it is absolutely brilliant.
Well worth a watch.
There's also a version of the movie, the documentary, where the other disc is that, so you can get it on DVD as well. Which I have.
Cool. Thanks, Gav. Next one.
Our next one. What a surprise! Who'd have thought it, eh?
Brace yourselves.
Sure.
This is Magnum 2. The most obvious thing about this one being their second album, it was the one before Marauder, and I came in on the Magnum train on Marauder, and most of the songs on Marauder are off Magnum 2. So I had to reverse back into Magnum 2 because I got into Magnum 4, like I say, the live album. But it's classic. It's a classic album. It's the famously mirror sleeve that gets scuffed up and ruined if you even look at it. I've got one with a original £3.49 oily sticker. It's got such classics. So between the live EP and Marauder, they had almost all of these. Great Adventure, Changes, Battle, If I Could Live Forever, Reborn, So Cold the Night, Foolish Heart. The only ones they didn't have were Staying Alive, Firebird, and then back to All of My Life. So such a great album. I managed to get the inner sleeve, which is comical in itself, with the how the guys look. I managed to get it signed by Tony and Bob. Didn't want the front cover signed because you wouldn't be able to see the signatures. There was also, this is kind of cool. There was a promo flexi disc with so basically little clips of songs with Tommy Vance talking through it.
Wow,
cool.
Yeah, it's really cool. I mean, obviously, we've said before, when you've only got to hear Tommy Vance's voice, and it's
one of the greatest voices in the world.
Yeah, because it just takes you back to Friday nights by the radio. They tried to make Changes a hit on numerous occasions. This was the first version of it, so they still had the silver. Got that signed as well, with Lonesome Star on the B-side, which is brilliant. We love that. And then they did re-release remix, so just switch the colors around with Everybody Needs on the B-side. And then the other single off this album didn't even get a sleeve. It was Foolish Heart. So there you go. But yeah, I love this album. It sounds really glossy and silky still to this day, which you could say is a bit dated and not gritty enough, but it's a great sounding album. What about you guys?
100% agree. It's still my favourite Magnum album because it's the first one you introduced. Well, it's actually the second one you introduced me to. Chase the Dragon was the first, but going back to this, yeah, Great Adventure and Reborn, Firebird, All of My Life, still 4 of the greatest songs I think I've ever heard in my life. Absolutely adore this album. It's so good.
With a mighty Keck scoring on drums, I should have mentioned.
Indeed.
Yeah. I mean, interesting gaps you actually saying that, because that was my first introduction, and I love this. I love Chase the Dragon. I wasn't so enamoured with the Magnum 2 sound, but when we saw them live around that time, I wasn't into those songs either as much as Chase the Dragon and the 11th Hour. Funny, isn't it? I love Reborn, love it. And you mentioned Foolish Heart. It's a great track as well. But,
yeah.
It's got great drumming, Foolish Heart, and I tried to play it around Gav's house one day, and thinking I could actually do it because it sounds really simple, but it's really not.
I've never heard that drum beat on any other song ever. It's a really strange thing that he does with a hi-hat. But yeah, Kex didn't give a toss. He just did what he wanted to do, and it was appropriate at the time.
Is that not helped by the fact that Kex was so chill? I don't know. To me, what didn't seem one of those rushed. I don't know.
No, he had a very unique playing style. Yeah. And, he kind of like teased his drums.
Yeah. So Gaps, you're probably thinking, that'd be easy. What? No.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly what I did. Yeah, that, like Gav says, the hi-hat thing is just very difficult to pull off if you can only do basic rhythm number 1 and number 2, which is what I could do.
I'll do a tutorial one of these days on that.
What a great idea. You can put the link on as well.
Yeah. I thought about doing a Keck scoring tribute because he's got so many weird drum tracks that he's done that, he deserves it. He deserves more recognition. Guy was great.
Brilliant. Well, thanks, Gav.
This didn't hit your world, did it, Dill?
No, it's not one that I've got, and I can't really comment on this one. I love Magnum, particularly from Storytellers onwards.
Yeah.
That's where I got into it. But Yeah, it's one I probably need to go back and visit and get to know more. So
it's very English. I'm not
yeah,
sure if
and I'd like, yeah, be up for that. Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Right,
So that's Gav's 3. We're going to move on to Gaps now. He's got an all-time heavy metal classic.
Yeah, I'd like one of you guys to show this, please, because it was one of the ones that I didn't get out of the flood, which we've spoken to on many occasions now. And it was the first Motorhead album that I got on vinyl. It was their first album on bronze. It's produced by Jimmy Miller, who Dill would know from producing Steve Winwood, Traffic, and the Rolling Stones back in the day, which is a really strange combination. But there you go. He went on to produce Bomber, which is the other album that came out in 1979 by Motorhead. It's got some fantastic tracks on it. I mean, obviously Overkill, the starting track, and there's a little bit of a story behind that. Filthy Animal didn't actually play double bass drums at the time. Didn't want to go on stage, saying he didn't want to be one of those WANKERs that had double bass drums on stage and didn't actually play them. So he went into the studio a few times before the guys and actually learned how to play double bass drums. And when Eddie and Lemmy came in and they heard him playing this thing, they thought, that sounds quite good. We'll carry on with that, and produced Overkill, the song, which was amazing. Yeah, I've got it on single. It's one of the very first singles I ever bought, and it's even got, you probably can't see it on there, it's got, where is it? It's got Stephen M 1AF, which was the very first tutor group I was in. It's got an absolutely fantastic B-side, which is Too Late, which should definitely have been on the album. It's so good. And notoriously, Overkill, the song, ends about 3 times. It certainly does on the album, but on the single, it only ends once, so you don't get to hear the double bass drumming going back into it like it does twice over on that. Favourite songs on this album for me, Stay Clean, the brilliant bass solo by Lemmy. The bass sound on this album is amazing. It sounds so much better than debut album. I don't know who produced the debut album, but the sound is so much better by Jimmy Miller. It's so good. I Won't Pay Your Price, Tear You Down, Damage Case, brilliant lyrics in that. There's a couple of songs which appear on No Sleep Till Hammersmith and Metropolis and Capricorn, which are probably my least 2 favourites on this album, and I just don't know why they put them on No Sleep when they could have put so many better songs off this record on it. But anyway, it's still one of the greatest albums that I've ever owned, and absolutely love it. Your thoughts, boys?
Well, I love it. This is my favourite Motorhead album. I think it's iconic. It's brilliant. This and Bomber in the same year, much like we were talking about Saxon with their 2 iconic albums the following year.
Just 6 months between them.
Unbelievable.
Mental.
I mean, absolutely on fire. I mean, new wave of British heavy metal at the time, which whether you pigeon Motorhead into that or not, they were certainly forerunners of all of that. They were very close to Saxon at the time as well. There's lots of pictures of them together. You go on the inner covers, there's pictures of them, I think, on Strong Arm of the Law, on No Sleep to Hammersmith, on vice versa. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure there are. Is there a better track than Overkill? I mean, it's absolutely stunning. If you want picking up, if you need cheering up, just put Overkill on. It's just makes your foot tap. Brilliant. Unlike you, Gaps, I love Capricorn and Metropolis. Metropolis in particular, I think, has got such a great groove. Brilliant song. No Class, which is, of course, is a shout out to Tush, almost the same.
Absolutely,
to ZZ Top. So, I mean, it's just every song's brilliant. I think it's a 10 out of 10.
I've got the Eddie version of No Class, and they brought out 2 others with Lemmy and Phil on the covers, which I haven't got. Which are quite hard to get rid of, Get hold of. That's what I meant. You don't want to get rid of them.
A little bit this way.
You can get rid of it to me if you want.
Wasn't Fast Eddie famously a foreman on a building site or something? And Lemmy went round and gave him a leather jacket. He just joined Motorhead. It's something like that. I mean, it's a great story. It reminds me of that Bad News clip when he.
I was thinking that.
We often talk about dodgy album covers as well, and there's no way you can say this is a dodgy. This is one of the best album covers of all time.
Yeah,
it's one of the greatest logos of all time.
Yeah,
absolutely brilliant.
And the use of colour there is wondrous, isn't it? It's awesome. The way it's got it all, isn't it?
It really has got it all, yeah.
I wasn't a massive Motorhead fan, as we know, we've covered off. This has got two of my favourite Motorhead tracks on, Stay Clean and No Class. Those two tracks for me, they're just brilliant.
Stay Clean is bloody brilliant.
Always love those two tracks. They're just brilliant. So yeah, this is a really decent record for someone who's not necessarily, I'm not a big Motorhead fan, but yeah, this is a really good record. Hence we all held it up except Gappy Car.
I haven't got it anymore.
It's the only one that wasn't holding it up at the start.
Well, do you know what?
Costs you about £100 for a first.
Well, the Motorhead record's not really expensive. You know, if you're trying to get this now, it's not easy to get a hold of.
Get yourself a nice reissue. It's fine.
I don't want to reissue.
Get yourself a nice box set.
That's lovely.
And they actually came close to where we all lived at the time on that tour. So they came to Friars and Aylesbury. This is on the box set.
We were probably all watching Coronation Street.
Legendary venue. Yeah, just a little bit young to be in a Motorhead crowd, I think.
Yeah.
9 years old.
My mum wouldn't have allowed that at 9.
No. So sadly we missed that. I mean, we're the perfect age for a lot of 80s and 90s metal, but just a little bit too young for this.
Brilliant. Okay, next one then. Gaps, one of your faves.
Well, here we go. Rainbow. And we've covered this off before because the reason me and Jam got together as friends was because I had an anorak at school and it had Motorhead at the top and it had Rainbow underneath. And again, what a fantastic album cover that is, with the rainbow coming into the Down to Earth. Absolutely brilliant. It was the first album to feature, first and only album to feature Graham Bonnet, who did a fantastic job on this album. First album to feature Don Airey as well. First album to feature Roger Glover. So they'd had a bit of a sea change since Long Live Rock and Roll. And also, strangely, they got rid of Martin Birch, who produced Long Live Rock and Roll, and they got in Roger Glover to produce the album as well. And his bass playing is to the fore, as you would expect, because he's the producer. Don Airey's amazing keyboard playing is also to the fore on this album, and it's also a real return to form for Richie's soloing on this album. It's absolutely brilliant. Two of their most iconic songs on this record, Since You've Been Gone, written by Russ Ballard of Argent, and Since You've Been Gone got to number 6, but All Night Long, which is a better track for me, got to number 5 in the UK. And the album itself got to number 6, so it was a real commercial success for the band. Cozy's last album, of course, he left after the Monsters of Rock, first ever Monsters of Rock in 1980, because he didn't like the way they were going down the commercial road, apparently. Standouts for me, you got two of Rainbow's best ever songs, Eyes of the World and Lost in Hollywood, which are both superb. As I say, Richie's playing on this record is brilliant. Yeah, can't say enough about this. It's one of the best albums that I've ever got, and one of the first ones I cut my teeth on learning some guitar other than AC/DC too. So really, really love this album. Yeah,
this one, a bit like Thin Lizzy, I got into it because of the hits. You know, they really were playing rock on the radio back in the day. You know, so you'd be in your mum's car, and these will come on the radio, and you know they were proper bona fide chart hits, and it was great. It was great that rock was so present, unlike today.
Real toe tappers as well. Those hits that were on the radio. The one thing I remember about Rainbow in and around that time, you think about the old denim jackets or the battle jackets as they're called now, there was always a big rainbow patch on the back that you'd always see. You don't see them as much anymore, but
yeah, usually the Rainbow Rising album cover. Yeah,
wasn't it? Always a rainbow patch in there somewhere around the way. But yeah, as Scap said, headlined the first ever Monsters of Rock as well.
Graham Bonnet also, even though it's his only Rainbow performance, he really takes on the mantle of the vocalist on this album. He's absolutely brilliant.
He's given it
really good. He was still in the band up until the start of the recording of the album after that, which is why Joe Lynn Turner really struggles, or supposedly really struggles, because they were all written in a key higher than he could sing in. So,
okay.
Yeah.
I'd never actually sussed that Graham Bonnet only did. I'm not a Rainbow aficionado like you. But I never sussed he'd only done one album with Rainbow. I love Graham Bonnet.
Richie liked the fact that they've got hit singles, but he didn't like the fact that the singer had short hair.
Yeah, I remember reading that. It didn't suit, but Graham Bonnet
and wore a suit and tie.
Yeah.
And he didn't.
So apparently he was he got bodyguards to stop Graham going to get a haircut.
I hadn't heard that.
When he rocked up to Donington and he had even shorter hair, he was furious.
Fair play to Graham Bonnet. I mean, he had just an immense voice, superb.
100%.
Yeah.
Really suited this album, and yeah, it's. I mean, I say it's a shame he didn't go on to do Difficult to Cure, but I still think Joe Lynn Turner's performance on that record is brilliant.
But at the same time, I'm then just putting my Michael Schenker group hat on and thinking he come in and did Assault Attack, which is just out of this world.
Yeah.
Then on all his way, it makes you wonder if it was. Yeah, wonder what it was like working with the guy, because he was a genius. It's a great voice.
Yeah, because you could have had Gary Barden on Assault Attack. So
He's a great bloke.
Anyway, that's Rainbow. So let's go on to the next one. Another classic.
Yeah, here we go. Yeah, it's Love Drive by the Scorpions. A lot of people say it's the first album that was with the classic lineup, but we've got to give Mr. Michael Schenker a bit of a big up on this one, because he appears as lead guitar player on 3 of the tracks on this record, which are 3 of the greatest tracks on this record. It starts off with a 100% absolute banger with Loving You Sunday Morning.
That's my favourite.
When you've got the stereo separation on the guitars, and the production on this album done by Dieter Dierks, who'd done previous albums, but he's made it sound so much more metal on this record. And you go into Another Piece of Meat. This is the second track, probably the most metal song recorded in 1979. It's just so metal. It's absolutely amazing. Other standouts for me on this record. Love Drive, the title track, Coast to Coast, one of the best instrumentals ever recorded. And I got in trouble when we saw Scorpions a couple of years back, when I was banging my head so much that it was actually going all over some people behind me, and they tried to pull my hair and really ruined my vibe. But there you go. Yeah, so what a fantastic record. Also another, we've talked about this before with Judas Priest on, I can't remember which album it was. The reggae track they put on, because they've got the
British Steel, The Rage.
The Rage, that's it. They've got which one is it on here? Is There Anybody Yeah? Which is another sort of nod to reggae, which is really big at this time. I'd still say the Klaus Minor. How do we say it? Minor, yeah. Mina. Is it minor or mean? I can't remember how you say it.
So you'll show me something like that.
One of the most underrated heavy metal singers of all time. He's absolutely brilliant on this record. Absolutely love it.
Can still do it as well.
Yeah.
Oh, you got a picture.
That's nice.
Did that come out at the time?
Oh, I haven't seen that before.
No.
Yeah, I'll big me up.
Well, that came out at the time.
Yeah, 1979.
Wow.
I picked it up recently. It's French.
Oh, you turned it round there.
Yeah, no. Look, it's French.
Yeah.
But the back's different.
Yeah.
Yeah, hasn't got the slightly dubious picture on the back.
Boobious.
I like the way they've done it though, because they've just done a silhouette of it. It's really cool. Don't tell them about the boobiousness.
We're not going to show you the boobiest bit on the back.
No.
Fear of getting banned.
But it's that good a record that obviously this is, as we all know, this is one of the greatest compilation albums of all time. And the fact that that they've got You Loving Your Sunday Morning and Another Piece of Meat that appear on here, and they're just smashing it out of the park. It's just absolutely amazing. Scorpions being another big love of mine, but Schenker, Michael Younger, appearing on this. This is a massive change from where they were. The change of direction from old Scorpions to then actually say, right, yes, we've achieved so much with this. Tokyo Tapes and all of the Virgin Killer in Trance, all the great albums, the great music. We're going to go in this direction now. Yeah. This is the beginning of it, and it's just amazing. But there are crossovers, as you said. The Is There Anybody There vibe is very much more Uli style on this album, which I adore. But it's got this album as well. It's got Coast to Coast in it. We still all watch them play that now.
I did mention that.
Oh, did you? I wasn't listening.
I said it's one of the best instrumentals of all time.
Yeah,
and it is.
I remember hearing Best of All Time, and I just turned off. Sorry. But But yeah, the whole album's absolutely brilliant. Yeah, I just can't put it into words. But yeah, well covered off the reggae bit. It's quite amazing that an album could be so rock and so metal, and yet have that typical Scorpions vibe on the second side. But no, I fully wholeheartedly endorse your decent selection there, Gaps. Love it.
Yeah, it's a great album. Radio Rock. I think this was the first time they branched into radio rock. And Loving You Sunday Morning.
Yeah, it's a good way. Good way.
My
of putting that,
favourite Scorpions tune, and they still play a lot of those tunes from this album live today, and a lot of them got onto Worldwide Live as well, which was God, what was that? 85, 86 that was released, 86. So great tunes. But that was the that set the tone for Scorpions through the 80s, didn't it? This album.
And you said there,
like Jam said, it was a sea change in the way they sounded. So
you mentioned Worldwide Live. I know that the guys, the viewers, the regulars on this, they'll have seen probably our live edition from the 80s. Scorpions figures in that in quite a big way. So it just shows this was the start of that period of world domination, if you like.
Yeah,
well,
brilliant.
Certainly United States of America domination.
Yeah.
Okay, we love the Scorps. Great album. Jam, what's your first pick?
Oh, it's me.
You're on.
Oh, he's up.
Dynasty. So we have to picture this. 1979. Kiss have come off the back of 4 solo albums. Who the hell does 4 solo albums? No one. So they think let's have a change of musical direction, and they really do. 7th studio album. It's a poppy disco vibe. I don't think anyone was expecting that. Really don't. Paul Stanley's "I Was Made for Loving You." Sure Knows Something, a Magic Touch. They're just brilliant. And I think they lead the way. That actually softens and gets onto the radio and starts making the sales. But the ace tracks like 2000 Man, Hard Times, and Save Your Love, brilliant. Love them tracks. They're so ace-ish. Gene Simmons, he gets in there, but doesn't seem as much as he usually might. But Charisma is really good, and he's got X-ray eyes going on. And then I've virtually mentioned every song on the album, which is then that it's pretty decent. I think it's Stanley's singles that drove it, that actually pushed it. And I Was Made for Loving You. I was in watching a movie the other day, and that came on as a backing track, and you're like, yeah, there you go. It doesn't surprise me. It's brilliant. This increased their album sales, but it reduced their ticket sales. More of that as we go forward in Kiss's life.
Yeah,
but what do you guys think of this record for what it was?
Totally.
I can understand why the previous Kiss fans didn't like "I Was Made for Loving You," but I've always loved that song.
Yes,
I thought it was absolutely brilliant. 2000 Man's another standout on this record. One of Ace's greatest tunes.
Well, that was the thing, because he was coming with more confidence because he had the hit from the solo albums. His New York Groove was the only thing that moved any units for singles off the solo album. So that gave him the confidence to put 3 songs.
But that was another cover version, though, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And
it's an iconic cover, though, isn't it? I think that no one's mentioned the cover. It's iconic.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It mesmerised me as a kid.
Yeah.
Couldn't get enough of it. I was drawing it, and it's just
absolutely
fantastic.
Brilliant. And the "I Was Made for Loving You," I think it's huge. All the kids know it. I think it's been used in adverts. It's on TikTok, etc. Whatever that is, they say. Yeah. But it's those first couple of tracks are just stand out. Sure Knows Something is probably one of my favourite Kiss tunes. Actually,
yeah, Sure Knows Something.
Such a great groove, and the video brilliant for that as well. If you haven't seen it, check it out on YouTube. And you had the original poster there, Gav, right?
Yeah. It's a bit dog-eaten, but massive. It's got loads of blue tack marks all over the back of it.
Yeah.
Like they all did back in the day.
I'm sure you had that one on your wall when we.
I love this album. I thought it was brilliant. I didn't mind that it was poppy, to be honest.
No,
it's good. Okay, cool. That's Kiss. Next one, Jam. Some
so a little bit off. Well, Status Quo, whatever you want. This is a fantastic Quo album. 10-year-old me. I was trying to explain to the boys. 10-year-old me listened to this a hell of a lot. It was the Frantic Four still. Side one's Bursting at the Seams. It's got the title track, which everybody knows, but very few people know much else on this record. But I'll list songs that none of you guys would know what they mean. But Shady Lady and Who Asked You, I love. It's got an absolute epic called Living on an Island, which feels weird me saying this to people. Gav's heard it, but if anyone hasn't heard it, it is actually worth putting on and going, is that a Quo song?
Yeah, you wouldn't know.
but it's brilliant.
You wouldn't, but it's a brilliant song.
Yeah,
so good.
And you can hear Rick coming through it.
So poignant about his life at the time. It was
got a great,
brilliant song.
Yeah, it's a great reflective song, and it's just so different to anything you would expect. Side 2 is just pure rock and crow. It's a hard one because I'm really the only Status Quo metalhead sort of sat here out of the four of us, and I've always been a big Quo fan. I've always followed them, always been with one of our friends, the pod Floy. So I had an outlet for my Quoism. And this album, as we often talk, I mean, this isn't going to worry the top 5, but I don't really care because at this stage, you want to make sure that you're saying, actually, this is brilliant. And if anyone was thinking, oh, I know a few Quo albums or whatever, that one I don't recognise, give it a listen, have a think, and let us know what you think below. If you think I'm talking out my ass, tell me. But it merits. And 10-year-old me, I remember starting senior school, and at the time, this is one of my top 4 favourite bands, and this is their most recent album, sort of thing, around this time. So yeah, it's a good one for me. Any comments from you boys on this one?
Only knew the singles at the time, but I like it now. Yeah, a lot of the lyrics are about touring and being depressed and stuff, aren't they? You know, you could tell that they were getting really big because the lyrics started to change to be about being away from home and stuff.
The inner sleeve.
Pick out your favourite film stars on the front as well.
The inner sleeve, they've all got beards, and this is at a time when people didn't really have beards. But their beards, as in, we're playing every night. We're not really washing or shaving or doing anything. We're living the life, and we're rock stars. We've got long hair. We're not shaving. Rick's having a party, and they all are.
Black Sabbath there, apart from Rick.
It's just the pretty boy. But it's a great record. Really love it.
And do you know what with Quo? You forget how respected they were by other bands at the time. So there's a really interesting book in Irene Thornton's book, who was the wife of Bon Scott, and they went and supported a fraternity, went and supported Quo, and they couldn't believe how amazing they were. Quo just blew them away, obviously. And there's a really good passage in Brian Johnson's recent book as well, where he's just you couldn't believe how good they were because they were amazing. So I think when you think about artists, they don't really get the kudos from the media, I would say, that they probably deserve or should deserve, because they were super, and they still are a super live outfit, and probably really underrated in terms of what they've given to the British rock scene over the last 40 years or so.
That one you mentioned there, Jill, so I was got to mention from Brian Johnson's autobiography, and that was 69, I think, or 70. It was that sort of era, 69, 70-ish. And it stuck with Brian Johnson for him to include it in his autobiography, which is he had a busy start to his life, and he was just so blown away by Quo, the fact that they'd come to near where he lived. They were playing a club, like they'd had a hit with Pitch
Bladen Boys Club or something.
Yeah, that was it. Well done. Yeah. And Brian, he had to get out there, and he went to see them, and he said the first thing that Rick he said, this bloke walked out in Denham. He walked out, and he just said, if any of you expecting to hear that Pictures of Matchstick Men shite, you're going to be mistaken. And if you don't like live music, F off. If you don't like loud music, F off. And then Brian's like, who was this guy? And he said he just blew away because they were so tight and so good. So yeah, that was 10 years before this. You think?
Yeah, they were
great stories you hear about this life. Yeah, but yeah, that's my second offering.
Brilliant. Next one.
Van Halen 2. So how do you follow up on such an amazing first album, such an amazing debut? It's Ted Templeman again, production, it's just ridiculously amazing. But you hear everything you need to know during the first song. So you put the first song on, and if you haven't listened properly, you put the first song on, and there's a haunting bass at the start. In comes some drums from out there, beautiful drums. It's just so felt. Eddie starts noodling. They launch into some trademark backing vocals, and the production has got everything in it. You can hear every single every tinkle on every cymbal from every backing vocal. And the thing with the production, and the thing with this band and these early records, especially in this one, is you can hear everything, and there still feels like there's space in it. For you to actually, it's hard to put across, but you can still feel there's space for you to actually hear it all. It's just exemplary, in my opinion. There's no other record, I think, that records like Van Halen Early Doors that come through like that. There's a cowbell that rings. I thought I mentioned this. A cowbell. I think it's a cowbell. It rings in the upbeat second track, "Dance the Night Away."
Yep.
It's so good. It brings in such a great time. It's like we're here for such a good time. The last 3 songs, DOA, "Women, Love and Beautiful Girls," are just brilliant. I love them. There isn't a dodgy track on this one. Every single one is pure joy. What are your boys' thoughts?
100%. I still think it's a better album than the first one. Might be a controversial thing to say, but I absolutely adore it. So if you listen to the first album and then you put this one on straight afterwards, you will think that the second album is a better album, in my opinion.
I often said that, Gaps. I've often said that, and I've been shut down.
Absolutely adore this album. Somebody get me a doctor. I mean, Christ almighty, what a riff that is. It's absolutely unbelievable. But like you say, Beautiful Girls, DOA. DOA is another great riff. But Dance the Night Away, lovely poppy up tempo tune. Yeah, it's a fantastic record.
Yeah, Beautiful Girls for me. That's my favourite song on the record. I think it's brilliant. There was certainly a band on the up, weren't they, at the time? For me, I don't listen to this one as much as I listen to Van Halen 1 or Van Halen. So maybe a slightly different view to you two guys, but still a super album and, you know, again, iconic, isn't it? Look at the cover.
Yeah,
I mean,
immense.
We're talking about brands. You mentioned that with Motorhead earlier and brands and, of course, you had Kiss and stuff. I mean, look at that. It's amazing.
And again, the colour. Sorry, I know that I brought it into play. You've got to make those decisions. Gav, you do such great artwork for us and our thumbnails and everything at the beginnings. And if everyone sees that and thinks, wow. Someone sat there and gone, right, I've got VH, and they put VH. And what colours, how did they, but then they've gone, oh, well, how about if it just comes off, doesn't it? It just comes off.
Doing that in the 70s as well. I mean, Gav and I have had this conversation before about the 70s being such a creative period and era. Not just in terms of the music, the songwriting, but everything. I mean, look at these brands; they're iconic.
Yeah,
that's great.
Well, that's when artwork was really important, wasn't it? Because it was this big. Yeah, it's not important anymore because it's just.
I think that's why us four all like our record. We like records, we like vinyl, whatever you want to call them, records, vinyl, whatever. We like them. We like that tangible. We like to have an awesome inner sleeve.
That's why some kids are getting into it as well for the same reason.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Brilliant pictures on the back of that record as well. On the inner cover.
Yeah. I showed a few of those a bit ago. But yeah, brilliant. No AI in those days, guys. It was from the heart.
Oh.
Okay. You got the poster. There you go.
Oh, I've got a poster. I never get a poster. I never get the poster. I always lose them. I found it. I've got that's a decent poster.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
In mine. Sorry.
Okay. I think it's me next.
Hey.
Oh my gosh. Right. What can you say about this one? This, of course, was Bond's last album with the band, Highway to Hell.
With his new teeth as well.
Well, yeah. You beat me to it. Yeah, new teeth.
Sorry, mate.
No, you're good. I mean, look, it's brilliant. I love that cover. It's iconic. They're all just mingled around, looking into the camera as I guess it's trying to show with Angus with the devil's tail and horns. So, I mean, who knew they were going to do this after PowerAge? When PowerAge is just, to me, an amazing album. But this is just brilliant. And the sound of it, I think, is the bit that really stands out. So produced by Matt Lang, or Langer, depending on how you want to call him. It's recorded at Roundhouse Studios in Camden in North London, which, interestingly, a couple of the tracks from the Motorhead Overkill were recorded there as well. So I only realised that tonight, looking at the back of it. I mean, I just love this record. I mean, I love AC/DC. So if you've ever seen any of these before, you'll know. But right, Ed, there's not a bad record on this. And to your point, Gaps, I've only been playing guitar a few years, but I love playing the tunes on this album, particularly the classics as well. So of course, a kick off with Highway to Hell, which is one of their stone classics, which is still played live and has been ever since they've played it, which is just brilliant.
The thing is with Highway to Hell, you can hear the change in sound that Mutt Lange brings.
Well, you can
with that opening riff.
Yeah,
it's just amazing.
Girls Got Rhythm, which is an absolute tune. Walk All Over You, which a little band called Merchants of Grief used to cover back in the day. Apologies for that one, but we did it as a tribute, nothing more. Touch Too Much. I mean, is that a ballad? It's amazing. And the lyrics...
Definitely not a ballad.
Oh, my gosh. The lyrics are just... They're iconic, aren't they?
Night Prowler's more of a ballad than Touch Too Much.
Well, yeah, and do you know what? I love again Night Prowler. We'll get to that in a second. And that was left off some of the ones in the 80s, probably due to some of the problems they'd had. Beating Around the Bush, don't know what that's about, but great tune, great little riff to it. Shot Down in Flames, again, another great tune. We still play live now. Get It Hot, If You Want Blood. That's my favourite tune to play ever. I love it. If You Want Blood.
Absolutely amazing.
And they've opened a recent tour with that, which is amazing. Love Hungry Man, probably the weakest track on the album, in my opinion. And then you go to Night Prowler, which is
I love that song. It's got a great bass line by Cliff Williams.
Yeah.
But it's amazing. So before I come to the boys, I'll just show you a couple of the bits that I've got. There's the Australian. Such a cool cover. I mean, that could have been it. Maybe should have been. That's the Australian cover. I've got a couple of other random ones, which I'll pull out. Here's an American promo. Nice little gold promo bit in the corner. Night Prowler on that one, which is good to see, even after all the trouble they had. This is quite an interesting one. You can pick, if you collect this stuff, you can actually pick this up for a decent price. But this is an East German. So kids, after the Second World War, Germany split in two. So there was an East German. They did some random stuff. There you go. Look at that.
Wow.
It's pretty cool, isn't it? It's like an old HMV record, that, isn't it? If you know what I mean.
Yeah.
A couple more quick ones. This one's a really cool one. This is a German orange, and this is quite a difficult one to get hold of. So they put the hype sticker on the back. So your man from Germany, Klaus, I'm guessing, bought that, took the sticker off, put it in the back.
Probably.
Maybe Rudolph.
Yeah, Klaus or Rudolph. Yeah, or Michael. Could have been any of those. But yeah, that's one of my... I love that one. It's great. Sounds brilliant as well. Another random one. Well, that's the normal UK first press. And again, look out for the little Atlantic label in the corner. Just here. That was normally a good signifier. And this one, which is a Spanish, which is called a deep groove, because of the way it was pressed. So if you look at the on the label, there is a deep groove that goes around the inner. Just there. Look.
So isn't that the same colours that Zeppelin used to have on their first Atlantic?
It's a plum, so it's a slightly lighter colour than the old Zeppelin ones, but it's quite funky, isn't it? That, and actually, it sounds brilliant. So it was cut on an older machine, but it does sound great. It's absolutely really heavy as well. This one,
cool.
Which is cool. Couple of other quick things for you. This one is one of the singles that came out, which of course is Touch Too Much, with a couple of live tracks, Live Wire and Shot Down in Flames.
Got that.
I'm not sure if they were from Wembley. From Hammersmith or from Paris. Let us know in the comments. I can't remember. What's interesting about that cover? Can you tell me?
Yeah, it's wrong way round. They're both playing left-handed. All three of them are playing left-handed.
He's ambidextrous, which who knew that?
That's amazing.
There were a couple of singles that came out. Girls Got Rhythm. Is this an EP? Because Girls Got Rhythm, If You Want Blood, Helen, A Bad Place to Be, and Rock and Roll Damnation are on this. What's cool about that? This one is
I've never seen that one, Dale. Did that come out at the time? That one, or was that a later?
Yeah. So there you go. It's a little poster, which is quite cool. Angus looks awesome, doesn't he? There.
Yeah, but that's Angus without a Gibson. Pick it up again, Dale.
Yeah, he's got Fender.
That's nuts.
I don't even know if it's a Fender actually.
Yeah,
well, it's definitely not a Gibson.
No, it's not. Can't see what it is.
Show it again.
Yeah, if you know, let us know. I'm sure someone will know. It's a really good shout, actually.
That's not a Gibson headstock.
No, I can't see what it is. I mean, it looks like a
Fender. Maybe that's why he's burning it, because he doesn't like it.
Not Gibson.
Probably true. There's on the other side of it is a famous photo shoot they did for the Highway to Hell promo, so you can see those around. There's the the single version. There's Highway to Hell, which is great. I think that's German, that one. Girls Got Rhythm with TMT on the B-side. And there's another girl, this might be French, I think. That's Girls Got Rhythm with Get It Hot on the B-side. So there you go.
Just a few then.
Just a couple.
Just a couple. So you'll indulge me. But any thoughts on the record, guys?
It's not only a great record to play the guitar to, it's a great record to play the drums to.
Yeah, me and Gav used to go to Gav's bedroom and play this album all the way through. I was lucky and got Walk All Over You a couple of times for the first bit anyway. Then I couldn't couldn't do the next bit.
Get off, it's my turn.
Yeah, we love this record. It is just immense.
You said about playing guitar. No song do I play more than Highway to Hell on acoustic chord, just because it's just such a lovely little. And I used to look when I actually ramp up my amp. Walk All Over You is just immense, as you said. I would imagine, because you can just let it go and just let it go in the distortion. It's gorgeous. If all the tracks on it are 9s and 10s, in my opinion, Touch Too Much is an 11.
Yeah,
I love it so much, and I've always been disappointed they've never played it enough live. I just don't understand.
But it's a very strange song because the guitar sound is so much different to all the other tracks on the record. It's brilliant.
But it's so good. It's
the lyrics, though. It was one of those nights when you turned out the lights and everything came into view. I mean,
the lyrics and Bon's, the way he's putting it across, it's pure. I can't say it's a folk song, but it's one of those tracks. It's a song. It's beautiful. It's superbly put together. It's immense. It's
probably the first time you had that multiple layers of bomb as well, because that's Mutt's speciality, isn't it?
Yeah.
They've not really ever had that, and there's lots of bombs on that track.
Yeah, it's a masterpiece.
We all love PowerAge, but we've all got to say that the production on this record is 10 times above that on PowerAge.
Yeah,
and I think there was quite a lot going on. I think they got Mutt in quite late on. He wasn't supposed to be the original producer for the album, and they managed to get him for the free. And of course, because he was free, and then it just really worked out for them. Certainly for this album and the following two.
Cool.
Good. That's Highway to Hell. The next one is Aerosmith, Night in the Ruts, which is a play on Right in the Nuts. And this was a time...
If you say so.
Is it?
Well, this was a time that they were going through really big drug problems and issues, and you can hear that on the record as well. But there is a really good, weird vibe to the record. It's a proper, great rock and roll album. Remember Walking in the Sand, Reefhead, Woman, Chiquita, which I love. I think it's a great song, that. Bone to Bone, No Surprise. I like this album. I think it's great. I like Aerosmith. That period of Aerosmith where they were clearly struggling with their demons, they made some great stuff. This wasn't a big hit for them, by the way. They've been huge, and this failed them to a certain degree. But yeah, I like it, and I know this probably isn't going to get top votes from the rest of the guys on here. They're not great lovers of Aerosmith, but they've got a back catalogue of some of this old stuff, which was brilliant. And I love it. I still play it today and enjoy it, and whack it on the vinyl and just tap my foot along to Joe and Steve giving it the groove, which is great. So, any other thoughts on this, guys? Anyone?
No, I mean,
not for me, mate.
I find the album track name that you mentioned there, Bone to Bone. I might have to have a look at that. See what that sounds good.
Yes.
Passed me by. I wasn't even aware of this at the time.
What I love, Dill, like you're saying there, is as you say, this ain't going to trouble the top 5. I love how you love your Aerosmith. I love it. I love my quote, and that's the whole point of why we do the pod. We love the same music but different, and I know
absolutely.
that. Love how this would have passed probably all of us by, and you'll be there with it like, yeah, this is great. It's fantastic.
They reinvented themselves a couple of times, actually. They're one of those few bands that managed to reinvent themselves. They were, they're real sort of 70s Stoneheads and real sort of raw down rock and roll, sort of club rock and roll, and they were huge, by the way.
Yeah.
Then they sort of started to relaunch a bit with Done With Mirrors. Then there was Permanent Vacation. They'd gone in a completely different direction and even polished that further into the 90s. So, yeah, I mean, they certainly carved out an amazing career.
As you say, I jumped on it at Done With Mirrors was my
yeah.
Sort of
That's an underrated album, by the way.
It's a good record. But yeah, but no, fair
so is Sweet Emotion not on this record?
No, that's in Toys in the Attic. Arguably their best album, in my opinion. Okay, cool. That's Aerosmith. And the final one, Whitesnake, in my opinion, around this era, around these sort of few albums, were an amazing band. They were fantastic. Again, another band that reinvented themselves and went on to more commercial success later in their career. Gav's got an original copy there. I've got one in a moment as well. There's a couple of... this probably isn't their best album, in my opinion. For me, probably Ready and Willing would be my go-to. But this is there's some great songs on this. Mean Business, Love Hunter, such a bluesy feel, which is brilliant. The classic Wish You Well, We Wish You Well, which is always played at the end of every Whitesnake, would play you out. And it's quite emotional when they play that. Walking in the Shadow of the Blues, again, another really bluesy track where John Lord really gets the opportunity to get the groove of the song going. It's just brilliant. Long Way From Home, which I absolutely love. There's a great video of Long Way From Home, which again you can go onto the internet, and Nicky Moody and Bernie are just messing around in the video. It's so funny. You can see they're having so much fun. Dave's just really tuned in, really concentrating on making the best video ever, and those two have been right tits in the background. But it's quite endearing. I love it. It's absolutely brilliant. And I think there's an interesting story about the set as well, isn't there, Gav?
It's kind of white with white columns, kind of like Roman columns. And the rumor is that the director thought the song was called Long Way From Rome. So don't know if it's true or not. That's a good story.
Yeah. Anyway, Duck Doyle on the drums, but in the video it's Ian Pace. So so when you look at that, you'll notice it too. There's my copy of the album, signed by His Holiness Bernie Marsden, and I don't know what he means there, but he's written cheeks on it, so I've got no idea what he's trying to say there. But either way, that's cheeks pretty cool. Right?
I love the way we haven't shown the back cover of Love Drive, but that one's okay. Apparently,
it's a cartoon. It's a cartoon. Anyway, any thoughts on Love Hunter, guys?
I love it. I had this roughly around the time, so yeah, it means a lot to me. Yeah, I think the only weak song is probably Rock and Roll Women.
Yeah,
the rest of them I really like, especially Medicine Man. It's got the kind of the stoppy starty.
Yeah,
I really love it. And Neil Murray's bass playing is always a joy.
Absolutely.
Certainly set things up for Colin.
It's a good album. It's definitely not my favourite Whitesnake album.
Okay, well that's my three. So let's just have a quick chat around the best of the rest. So any comments on any of these guys, just quickly?
Well, it's a difficult year because we took quite a long time to argue about which ones were going to go in. At one point, Styx was going to be in. At one point, Gillan was going to be in. And obviously, people and Journey, in fact.
Yeah.
A lot of people are going to be mystified why Pink Floyd didn't go in. And that was probably because it didn't hit us at the time. I like Pink Floyd a lot now, but it certainly didn't.
Yeah, ditto.
So that missed out just because it wasn't in our hearts at the time, and we try and make sure that these were. Riot's in there because it's the worst album cover of all time, but it's metal.
It's a great album, by the way. So if you ever get to see that, it's brilliant.
Yeah, it's a good record.
And then the other six, April Wine was a contender for Jam, wasn't it?
That was my fault. But again, April Wine, Riot, they both feature on that famous. I had that album at the time. They feature on that Monsters of Rock album.
I tried to push that one in as well.
Yeah.
Bernie Marsden.
Yeah.
And I just pulled it out my today, and on the back of it is Mickey Moody's album. I just put them together. Yeah.
We couldn't put Bomber in because we already put Overkill in, but again,
Bomber should be.
What a fantastic cover that is!
Yeah,
we couldn't squeeze it into the 12. That's the tricky thing.
Unbelievable. That would have been in my top 12 without a shadow of a doubt. And then again, so would a Foreigner have been Head Games, which is
Same
And
with
you
me.
got Led Zeppelin as well.
Yeah.
Led Zeppelin and Pink Floyd left out. It's classic.
And ZZ Top with the classic Cheap Sunglasses tune on the album too.
Yeah.
So, okay, cool.
There you go.
So there's your top 12. Let us know if you agree with that 12. Tell us what your 12 may or may not have been. Clearly, that's the official 12 for 1979. And let's go to the top 5 then. Let's go to our resident DJ, our resident disciple of Tommy Vance. So over to you, Jam.
Thank you very much. Cheers, Dill. So as Dill said, thank you very much indeed. Here's the official top 5 killer albums from Tales from the PowerAge. If you're a regular of the pod, this one will be no surprise to you. Kicking us off at number 5, it's Magnum 2. Okay, yet again, we have 6 in our top 5. Yes, you guessed it, we have a tie. This time we find Van Halen 2 sitting rather beautifully alongside Motorhead with Overkill, both as good as each other, therefore tying at number 4. It's the rock legend that is Thin Lizzy with Black Rose, a rock legend, at number 3 in the official Killer Albums of 1979. Okay, this album taught me what not to do with chewing gum from a very early age. With their first post-Uli Roth record, we had the Scorpions with Love Drive at number 2. Which can only mean, was there ever really any doubt? This was unanimously voted number 1 by every single one of us, and in turn, the official number 1 killer album from Tales from the PowerAge for 1979 is AC/DC with Highway to Hell. Over to you, Dill, and congratulations.
Well done, Jam. Brilliant album. I mean, if you just think there's 6 records there, right? It's our top 5. But can you imagine 6 records being released like that in a year? Just incredible. The talent and the number of songs in that group, just mind-blowing. Absolutely brilliant.
Yeah. I think we're all pretty happy with that.
Yeah, damn right.
Right, if you want to see what we're up to in terms of the live shows that we go to, we normally take 1 or 2 vids each gig we go to. Check out the free channel. You can have a look at many of the bands that we've talked about. We've got videos from Scorps, AC/DC, of course, Magnum. Check them out, they're brilliant. So it's definitely worth a look. If you want to get in contact with us, you can on Facebook on Tales from the PowerAge, on X, on TTFTPR, on BLUESKY, on Instagram on Tales from the PowerAge. You can even get some merch if you fancy it, although I think we prefer you to buy some beer, which you can on through Thanks. But look at the quality. Just have a look at the quality of it.
The craftsmanship.
Oh, look at that.
It's a beautiful t-shirt.
So brilliant. And you can have a check out. If this is the first time you've ever watched one of these, you can find out a little bit more about us on www.talesonpowerage.com online. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed that. That's the top 6 albums from 1979, and we'll see you soon. Take care. Bye.
Cheers.
Bye now.
Take it easy.
Dubious
That's good.
picture on the back.
Boobious.
I like the way they've done it though, because they've just done a silhouette of it. It's really cool.